My alma mater, the university I went to, interviewed me to give some advice to current students based on my story. As someone who came to the United States at age 19, I learned a lot of language and cultural lessons, as well as job-seeking strategies that I share in this interview. Let's go.
My name is Natalie Connors, and I am the Executive Director of Employer Relations and Career Services at Purdue Northwest, and I work in the Purdue Northwest Career Center. I've been at that for almost 13 years now. I've seen a lot of students come and go. Some stay longer than others, but Homolu has always left an impression on me. He has joined us this evening. He is a graduate from Purdue Northwest Civil Engineering program from 2017. He was an international student. I think the biggest impression he made on me, and probably it's lasted more than any international student that I've ever interacted with, is he sent me an email when he got his first employment offer post-graduation. I think you had an offer before graduation, but that email told me how many applications he had applied, how many jobs he had applied to, how many interviews he had had, how many graduate programs he had applied to, how many interviews he had. Those numbers, I believe some of them were in the triple digits, lasted with me. It just impacted my feelings about his experience in the US. We've kept in touch. And tonight he's going to tell us about his experience as an international student in the United States. Why don't you start off by telling us a little bit about yourself, where you came from, why you chose to go to college in the United States, and what motivated you to study civil engineering?
I am originally from Brazil, and I actually started college back in Brazil, and I was there for 2.5 years studying civil engineering. I had this opportunity to come to the US or a different country as an exchange student, and it was a scholarship program that I applied to. And at first, actually in 2013, I didn't get approved. I didn't get accepted because I didn't know enough English. I took the exam and I actually failed the exam in 2013. And I then applied to go to China actually. And I got approved and everything was getting ready for me to go to China. And then I backed out. I was like, no, I don't want to learn Chinese. I've heard so much about the American culture and I want to learn a little bit more of English and then pass this exam and hopefully go. So that's what I did in 2014. I applied to the same scholarship program. I didn't know enough English to study in English, but I knew enough to take ESL courses here. So pretty much to just learn English for 1 semester here. And then that's what I did. And I went to Purdue Northwest. I was very grateful for the ELP, English language program that we had there for 1 semester. So that was the initial motivation, I guess, to come to the US because there was a program that I could apply for. And I just knew that getting a degree from here or just coming to the US would open a lot of opportunities, whether I wanted to come here later on or stay in Brazil. I just knew that learning another language, knowing another culture would be a huge plus for my career. And that's essentially the vision I had at that point in 2013, 2014. But then after I came to the US and I was at Purdue, I had a blast. And it was just an amazing experience I had. And I met so many wonderful people that as soon as I heard about the idea of the possibility of coming back and transferring my degree, I went all in and decided to transfer my degree because at that point I had already seen how the job market was here, how I had adjusted to the culture. And even if I went back to Brazil, I probably would be in a different state practicing engineering anyway. So I'd be a little bit far from home. So it was almost like a no-brainer for me to come and pursue my education and then a job here as well. Does that cover all the questions you had?
Yes. In terms of your experience at Purdue Northwest, can you tell us a little bit about some of the things that you did to prepare yourself for the world of work in terms of the projects that you worked on, any internships that you had before you graduated that you feel like were able to help you seal the deal?
I think one of the things that helped me was just being an international student. I wanted to live the student life, the college life to the fullest, but not just in the sense of having fun and with friends, but also being able to join student organizations and being involved on campus. And I think that was huge for me to just grow a network of people that I knew in the industry and also just my skill set. And I can point out a few of them. One is being able to join the Steel Bridge team, which this may vary depending on your major, but for me in civil engineering, at the time, that was the project that we could get hands-on experience, and we did a lot of actual presentations to companies to fundraise for the project as well. So I was a part of that for about 3 years, pretty much the entire time I was at Purdue, and that was very helpful for me because I built a strong relationship with my mentor at the time. And to this day, whenever I go to Indiana, I still contact him, and I think it was great because I built that relationship, and also I was able to build more relationships with the industry while learning some hands-on experience, which is like welding and actually cutting steel members and learning some softwares. So that was one of the things that I think helped me a lot. The other thing was just taking advantage of what the university has to offer. I think when we are students, we tend to take it for granted, just the free resources that a college or university has to offer. So for me, it was huge being able to talk to you, Natalie, and use the Career Center and being able to give my resume to someone and say, hey, can you help me make this a better resume, and or things like that, or prepare for an interview. So I think it's something that when you're outside of school, you don't have that help as much because you're pretty much on your own. So while I was there, taking advantage of those resources was a big factor that I think played in my growth in college.
And believe it or not, those resources really aren't free. You're paying for them. So it's good that you took advantage of what you were paying for, right?
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. Were you the first person in your family to go to college?
Yes. Well, I'm the youngest, so I technically wasn't the first. My sister was the first. She's the oldest, and then my brother, and then I. But yes, my father, I think he got up to maybe third grade. So he knows how to read and those simple math, and my mom, I think she went up to high school, maybe freshman or sophomore year in high school.
And your parents are in your family are still back in Brazil?
Yes. Both my parents and my entire family, except for my wife and my extended family through my wife.
Okay, great. I just wanted to also point out that you were one of the first people in your family to go and pursue a college education. So your experience in coming to the United States, learning the English language, learning the culture, your experiences like pitching, fundraising support for these projects, for engineering, for the Steel Bridge project. How do you feel like that played a role in your job search and in your professional life?
First, in the job search, I think it was great because I actually had something to show when I went to interviews. Because I think that's one of the things that students struggle a lot, is because especially when you're coming as a freshman, sophomore, even junior, sometimes you don't want to apply for jobs because you say, well, I have no experience. And even though I didn't have any experience, I at least had worked on a project that I could showcase. I remember for my first job in Minnesota, I actually brought a small, let's say, portfolio that I had the drawings, I had some sketches, some pictures that I could actually show and say, hey, I actually worked on this project and we did presentations. These are our actual drawings that we did. So it was huge because it turned the whole interview into this nice flowable conversation that we were just talking casually about this project that I worked on, so they could see that I actually had some sort of hands-on experience. And then even later, after I got the job, I think it helped me just in being able to communicate, I think, a little bit better than, say, if I had not gone through these projects, just because it was not easy. There was one year that I was the captain of the team. We were a team of about 14 students. So to just communicate with the professor, with the mentor, and then communicate with the companies that we're trying to give these presentations, to try to coordinate and get everyone together. So I think that communication aspect also helped me a lot, to just be able to speak in a group setting, and also to make presentations as well, formal presentations to companies and whatnot. That did help me later on in my career, as I needed to do similar things at times.
What was the transition like from going to be a full-time student in your first professional role? What do you feel like helped you make that pivot or that switch from, well, I'm a student, I'm here to learn, to now I'm an employee and I'm expected to have a certain level of knowledge, but I'm still learning? What do you feel like helped you make that pivot?
When I was a student, it's almost always like this. We are given a problem, a homework problem, and a project, whatever it is, and we're always just trying to solve that problem. We're always just trying to get to a solution and move on. Sometimes we ask for help from the professor or from other people who are studying with us. We even go and study together, but all that we care about is passing that exam or solving that specific problem. And a mindset shift that I think happened when I started to work was that it's a lot more than just that problem. There's just so much more that I need to know in order to problem solve that specific task or whatever it is. So being able to actually be a researcher, so to speak, and a problem solver, to go talk to people, but also try to acquire that knowledge on my own slowly, was a mindset shift. Because I think at first, when I came out of college, I just wanted quick answers. So you always are just trying to ask people, how do I do this? How do I do this? And you just assume everyone knows that you don't have any experience. Therefore, they should just spoon feed you all the answers to questions. And so especially in a technical field, that can happen a lot. And I think that was, at some point, I had to make a mindset shift that was like, I don't know everything. I know nothing. And these people, they may know a lot, they know a lot more, but they were there at some point as well. Instead of coming to people just with the problem, coming also with a proposed solution, even if it looked silly, it made me learn something new.
That's great. I actually had a conversation today with another alum, an electrical engineering alum who graduated in 2014. He said, when I graduated, I thought I knew everything. And he said, I got into work and realized I knew nothing. He said those words to me today. Yeah. So, and these are the kinds of conversations we have to have.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button so that we can spread this message to more people. And if you want to know what it is like to be a structural engineer in their first year working on real-life projects, check out this video here where I interviewed my coworker Kyle about what it is like to transition from college to real-life structural engineering. And I'll see you next time.